Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to 2024, the opening stream. I apologize. Last week Christmas hit, and by the time last Wednesday rolled around, I was just beat and I was exhausted and I wanted a vacation, so I took one. But welcome back. We are going to do more coding. I did do a ton of coding over the holiday, most of it, though, not in public repos. But first, a couple announcements and then a sneak stuff. So, first of all, if I remember where my buttons are, see, it's been a couple weeks and I've already forgotten how to use a keyboard. Okay, so Git Kraken CLI. I think I've pointed this tool out or shown it to some people, but there's an update, a very important update. Scroll down. It's me. I made a video all about the Git Kraken CLI. It is a very slick tool. 30-second synopsis. It is a tool to augment your CLI experience with Git. It is not a replacement for Git. It gives you access to a lot of the Git Kraken features, workspaces, focus view, etc. And if all you want to do is just like kind of bulk manage your local repositories, you don't even need an account. Completely free, download, have fun. Check out the video. One thing I'm going to call out. There was, and I comment on it in the actual full video here as well. But there was an issue I ran into that was not quite the Git Kraken's fault. It has to do with how you authenticate your Git CLI to GitHub. So if you run into issues running the clone command, check out, here, I'll just post a link. Check out this video as well, because it took a little back and forth for me to figure out what was going on. Now, I'm hoping Git Kraken makes this better error messages and suggestions and tooling and that kind of thing to try to work around it, because it was not obvious. I spent like 2 hours diagnosing what was going on and went, oh, okay, I see it now. So not necessarily the Git Kraken CLI's fault, aside from the fact that it didn't really surface the error in a useful way, but the Git exe didn't really surface the error in a useful way. Okay, next thing. I did a ton of coding over the holiday weekend. And there is a library I have used quite a bit. In fact, I think if we do Teletech squirrel, this is not related to my Christmas squirrel, completely unrelated whatsoever. These are not overlapping. But a long time ago, like years, I wrote a blog post about using the squirrel installer to go ahead and make simple deployments. Because if you're building WPF applications, there's not a lot of options out there for you. And I shouldn't say there's not a lot. There's very few simple, easy to use options that don't like put you in a box. And that's usually the problem with a lot of them is they either have the feature set and are a pain to use, or they lack feature set and put you in a box where there's no room to grow. Both are bad. Squirrel was kind of a nice middle ground because it gives you an SDK so you can build onto it and make stuff work the way you want. Squirrel, unfortunately, though, if we go to the repo, you can kind of see the updates from it are getting a little old, and there's contributors needed, and so it is somewhat at risk of, like, it's not bad, but there are a handful of issues out here, some of which around like dependent libraries wanting updates and that sort of thing. So there are things like that. It works. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. However, if you want an updated version of it, there's this library here called Cloud Squirrel, which you will note was a fork of the original Squirrel library. Great. Very cool. And then I had gone and built a library on top of Cloud Squirrel called Skirriday. And the idea with Skirriday is I wanted to make building out a Cloud Squirrel installer as simple as running .NET publish. And I kind of got Skirriday to the point where it worked as a proof of concept. I never kept going with it because it was like, yeah, there's a lot of work. The app that I was thinking of using it with kind of fizzled, and I was like, meh, I didn't have a lot of motivation to keep it going. And given my limited time, I have to prioritize which projects I'm going to play with. So that guy kind of fizzled. But you'll note there's a lot of good stuff here. And Kalen, who has been working on this, you can see even as recently as last week, has been doing lots of work on this. There's been a major rewrite for the V3 stuff. coming in with a lot of a Rust rewrite for the native side. Things are significantly smaller, significantly faster. It's just all around nicer. So if you like Squirrel, Cloud Squirrel is a great update. Now, here's the teaser. I've been working on a project. And I won't tell you what it is, but I'm going to post a link. And I'll click on this. And I'll tell you this. One of those pictures should look familiar. Maybe both if you've been paying good attention. And you'll note there's something remarkably familiar about this project. Something that looks really similar to something that was on my screen about 30 seconds ago. So there is coolness in the works. Stay tuned for more. I don't think we're ready to announce anything yet, but there's some coolness afoot, and we will see what goes on there. So, yes, and I don't know why I opened this. That's me. Huzzah. Okay. There was supposed to be a transition there, and I don't remember what the transition was. So we stop. When I sat down to start streaming again, I clearly was out of practice. For work, I actually have an Intelitech shirt because we get company shirts and whatnot to wear, but we get to pick our own colors, which is a dangerous thing. I at one point in time selected what I will call a Mountain Dew green shirt. And people laughed at me for selecting a Mountain Dew green shirt. But I will tell you, every time I have tried to meet up with somebody and I'm like, hey, I'm the one dressed like a can of Mountain Dew, zero issues finding them, or them finding me, I guess. So, short version, if you want people to find you, dress like a can of Mountain Dew. Velopack is going to be cool. And Git Kraken CLI is awesome. Expect another video in the near future, probably around the Git Kraken cloud patches. So that will probably be forthcoming if we get through stuff. We play a little bit with it tonight. We're gonna see. Cloud patches are still very much in beta. Very much in beta, in my opinion. Okay, so last time, for those people who remember way back, like last year, way back, we did this guy here, right? Where we were building this flipper thing where we wanted to make sure that we could do this maneuver, right? And so the goal here was to try to figure out how to deal with the resizing, because part of the issue is we want to resize the content, but we want to do it at the exact right point. And the exact right point, because this guy starts here in the middle, right? And when we do a flip animation, and actually maybe I'll just show the flipper control real quick. That's under cards, isn't it? It's been 2 weeks. I can't even remember that far back. Yeah. So here's the old flipper control, right? It does this cool little animation. Huzzah. The challenging one is this case here, where it starts tiny and goes big. And the kicker is there's a little trick that's happening, because you'll note in both cases, it kind of looks like it's animating this direction. I think I did that right. No, this way. My camera's inverted. I'm already bad with my lefts and right. Horizontally inverting your camera just makes it worse. I thought it would help. No, it doesn't. Just means that when my eyes go to this way, they appear to go that way on the recording. But when this animation is occurring right at that halfway point, we flip and go the other way. So what I mean is, if we go update this 3D test, so we start doing the animation, and right when we get here, we quickly go whoop, and then we continue the animation here. And so the goal was, when we got to this halfway point, we want to make sure that we can invert the controls. And that's kind of what we wanted to do here. And I believe the issue we were running into, and why we wanted to play around, or why I built this demo app, is as that flip was happening, we wanted to make sure that the controls appropriately resized, because the big issue here, and you can kind of see it with this control, is the text is blurry. And oftentimes when people report blurry text in a WPF app, what is happening is true type text is being turned off. Or there's often a scaling factor and whatnot. There's several things. If we look at, let's see, WPF through type. Ba-ba-ba. This guy. This guy here. So you will note, oh, I guess true type and clear type. I may be missing things. And actually, the browser's a beautiful example, right? So when we zoom all the way in on actual rendered text, you can see all the blues and reds that are in there. It turns out people who are smarter than me figured out that when you put the blues and reds in there, it makes things much easier to read. And I think they show it. I think they give an example here. Yeah, of the rationale of how those things go together. And I think you end up one of these they actually show it really well, but I don't know. It'd be really funny if they had these zoomed in images and then didn't actually apply it the way they claim they were, which would be hilarious. But the short version is when you have the nice sharp looking text, it's a optical illusion that is designed to make it look better. However, it comes at a cost. There are certain things that just don't work well with that. And things like scaling, where it has to start doing pixel math, don't play nice that way. Um, and so there are a number of things that will actually kill true type or clear type on here. And I'm not going to bother to find them. One of which is a visual brush, which is what this guy is using, which is what is causing our pain and suffering. Because over here, what we started doing is we have this new card here. You'll note that doesn't look right. Right? And so, but the key difference here, when we zoom in, we can actually see that we are getting sharper looking text rather than blurry looking text. Still not getting the true type blues on there. There may be something else at play that might need to be looked at and addressed. But regardless, that text, one of those sides looks a lot better than the other, and I'm going to submit to you that it is the one right behind my head. See, left and right, bad directions. I can't do cardinal directions. So that is the game plan, and what we would like to do. Let's see. We have this guy here, measure override, arrange override. And what we would like to do is we would like to swap in this content at the appropriate point and make it be appropriately functional. Now, if I remember correctly, why do you already show a diff? What have I done? Oh, I fixed white space. Okay. Okay, that's acceptable. That is acceptable. Also, if anybody is, hold on, I gotta show one more thing off. Slight detour. Okay. I started playing with this over over the Christmas holiday. If you are at all interested in cloud-based software development, this is really slick. There are two things about this that I have come to despise and hate, but for the most part, this is awesome. There is a wonderful demo. Like, this is what I wished all Microsoft templates were: an opinionated starting project. Right? It takes opinions. You can change them, but when you do .NET New, you're gonna get an opinion, and it is a good opinion. And there are other good opinions, and so you can swap it to make it fit your needs if you want. You can bring in the cool .NET Aspire tooling with your existing project. So if you've already got something else and you want to add this kind of nicety onto it, there is a lot of cool stuff here. Service discovery, defaults, health check, telemetry, components, all of this stuff. And it is really slick. I think this one here shows the setup, right? So you do new project, you get this thing, you launch, you get a really slick dashboard with all the stuff that you would want, which is great. That's kind of what you want. It shows you how to add in the orchestration to other projects if you already have them. And then where's the one that shows the whole environment stand up? because this is great for a project where you go F5, but they took it a step further. Yeah, test the app locally. There is a deployment. Oh, it's probably under the deployment section. Who would have thunk? They have added in tooling for the AZD command, which is the Azure developer tool. And so you can do AZD up, and it will go through. It'll ask you to give your environment a name, and then it does a bunch of defaults. Like it creates a resource group that uses that as part of the name and various bits, and deploys all of this stuff out. So you get yourself an Azure Container Registry to hold all the images. You get container apps to push everything up. You get a log analytics workspace with everything connected and already prepped login for you. You get your container apps with a Redis cache service deployed out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That may be everything, but it stands it all up, connects it together for you in Azure by typing AZD space up. 6 characters. Now, this assumes you've already logged in and all that jazz for it, because you obviously have to be logged into an account that has a subscription and blah, 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 blah. But it is incredibly slick. I will say, I ran into various issues, specifically with the Azure ARM provider, where things didn't always deploy nicely. That was annoying. If you want to deploy things with Terraform, you get no help. That was annoying. If you want to use Bicep, you can have it generate Bicep files for you that you can check in. It doesn't put them all where I wanted them. That was annoying. So this is an amazing start. It's still in preview. It's only going to get better, but it is absolutely slick the way that it works. So check it out if you are doing anything cloud related. Okay, flippy time. Flippy. That Mountain Dew can is empty. That one is not. That's the one I want. Okay, so where we left off. We were doing a visual state, and we were trying to figure out how to appropriately rotate this plane and adjust it accordingly. Now, I think the thing that we wanted to do next was swap the content in our 3D test. Because right now all we have is the side to side spin, right? We want to have the content get swapped out and see this thing resize appropriately and maintain everything else. That's the current game plan. So we want a button, and we want this thing to swap out to something that looks a little bit nicer. So let's go there. Did I just do all this in code behind for the moment? Or did I just do all this in the UI? I might have just done all this in the UI. Let's see. Plane 3D, rotation, starting content, flipper content. We have this, and we took a translate transform and sent because technically this content exists. It just exists in La La Land area at negative really far. So that's fine. But we would like to do another one. Let's see. Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we would like to do. Let's go over to the cards thing, and we're just gonna steal, because I'm gonna try to make this look as real as possible. Um. Back. I want the one that's just the button itself. We have flipper new front content. Yeah, so I just want this. I just want this. Okay, so we want to do this. We're going to slap the button in. We are going to not give it a command because, frankly, I don't want to deal with that. And then we need to set a render transform on this guy to also be in the middle of La La Land. Let's see. Button. Render transform. Translate transform X. Out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so that's there. And now we would like something over here. Let's see. So we're gonna do button, the horizontal alignment center, content, swap content. All right. So at the end of the day, what we're looking to do is swap out the card. We want to change this based upon how that goes. Let's see. And actually, it's not formatting because I am debugging. So yeah, stop debugging. Okay, and actually we can get a little more clever here. We can do toggle button, and we're gonna go with X name toggle button. Problem. Windows control template. Huh? I don't understand what it's unhappy about. There must be something up on the default template. Not valid due to a property on the setter. Right. Okay. So we're gonna come in here. We're just gonna do this. We're going to do material design. Oh, I forgot to mention too the plans for the next several streams. So coming up next week, we are going to take a look at Avalonia because I have threatened people with that for long enough. After that, I have a request to do a stream on the AutoMocker library and kind of a deep dive on how it works. Now, I am fully aware that, unfortunately, the documentation on the library sucks. And as one of the contributors, I should probably make it not suck. Oh dear heavens, what have you come up with, Copilot? That is not even close to what we want. So, yeah, no. So those are going to probably end up occupying a bit of the rest of January, is my thought, because I have a suspicion Avalonia will take a little bit of time. Let's see, binding element name, toggle button, and then we're gonna go with is checked value true. Boom. Let's see here. That's pretty close. That is pretty close. I'm trying to decide. I think we just wanted to just have starting content and change that out. But what we're going to do here, so this is worth noting. So in WPF, the thing that's closest to the property wins in terms of assignment. So right now, the direct assignment is going to beat out anything in a style because it's direct assignment. So if you want a trigger to actually be able to change it, you need to have the assignment to that property not be closer than the trigger. So by moving the assignment of the property into a regular style setter, we've moved it one step away from a direct assignment, and therefore the trigger can now override this default. So you can kind of read style triggers as an if-else statement, only backwards. It's else if. I guess more like else if. Here's the body of your if. Here's the body of your else. Something like that. Okay, and then we don't want this to be that. We need to give this guy a name. X name. How about button content? Yep. That. Okay. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there. So toggling this guy changes that guy. Let's test it. And I didn't have to write any code in my code behind. Huzzah. Data bindings. Absolutely wonderful. And then we might end up doing a .NET MAUI stream if that's interesting to people. I've been also playing around with a Maui application. Probably not something I'll show on stream, but I've been contemplating pulling out a lot of the setup I've done for it and making my own .NET Maui template. Their default template isn't bad. My templates are opinionated, and I think they should be opinionated. Something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. For starters, what the heck is that little thing down there? And that just says window. Huh? What have I done wrong here? Okay, so let's start with this guy. Toggle button, swap content. Finding element name, flipper content. Oh, the default style of a toggle button. Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. So the default style of a toggle button is not what I expected, and that is problematic. So let's go with probably in toggles. Yeah. So the default style of a toggle button is more like this, right? And so we're getting the wrong one here. I think I might actually just do this. You know what? We're gonna go fancy. We're gonna go secondary. All fancy like. I'm surprised this thing still shows secondary. Thought we had killed those off, but you know what? Could be wrong. Let's see. Style. Too many curly braces. Too many curlies. Okay. And then we go back here. Clearly didn't update. That should be there. Very confused as to how. Okay. We're going to just get rid of content for the moment. I don't think I need that. There. That'll be good enough. Actually, hang on. Hang on. Hang on. What? Wait. Am I the only one who notices that that thing's doing the exact same animation? Have I just been spinning my wheels where we've already built this? No. No. I'm not that stupid. Hang on. I now have to go look at this. How? Check states checked. Storyboard linear double look enemy. It's animating the scale X of it. Yeah. No way. That is potentially exactly what I want. It's not nearly as nice as the 3D thing, but it doesn't suck. Well, this may have just gotten real easy. Hang on. Offset scale transform. Where are you applied? Show me. Okay, so it's applied at a grid. There's a default value of 1 set on each of these. Render transform is about the center, which is important to note in this case because we're going to be scaling down and back up. Oh man, this looks so slick. I wonder if it only looks that way because of how small it is, though. So hang on, let's look at this animation. What exactly is this doing? So we're going to go check states from star to checked. Hold end. So we're going to animate the scale X property. For 0.2 of a second. We're going to go from 1 down to 0. Then starting here, I don't understand why these are two separate animations. On scale, off scale. Oh, they're targeting separate properties. Oh, I see. Oh, hang on. Are there two separate ones? Ah, there it is. So it's scaling one down and scaling one up. Oh, I like this so much better. I like this so much better. Because then, okay. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Oh, we're trying this. We are totally doing this. I want to see this thing in action though before I commit to it. So we've already got a setup here for the flipper. This guy has been the bane of my existence. I would much prefer do something a little fancier here. So, do you know? Hey, fair question. Fair question. It is good. It is good to be. I will say this. I want to try it because if we can get away without having to do wacky stuff with render transforms, putting things off at like -1,000,000 and weird things with visual brushes, I suspect we're going to be in a much, much, much better place. So this guy here, this card has a translate transform. What are we using these transforms for? We used them for something. Right, to send things off in La La Land. Okay, so we're gonna abandon these. So this is gonna become a scale transform. Front content, and this is going to be a scale X is going to be 1. Scale Y is going to be 1. Then we're going to go with scale transform here. We are going to do scale X of 0. Technically, I guess we don't. I think scale Y defaults to 1. From that. Let's look. Do you default to 1? I think the answer is yes. I would like to be sure of that. There we are. Animatable, register properties, scale Y, default is 1. Huzzah. Okay. We're just going to abandon everything that thinks about the word Y. We're only going to focus on X. If we get really fancy, maybe we implement a vertical flipper rather than a horizontal flipper. Real fancy. Definitely not material design spec. Don't care. Okay, so we're going to just whack you completely. You're gone. And then what we want to do is we want to do, because this thing was going from 0 to 0.4 of a second. So we want to do basically the same thing as Where did I put it? Yeah, we want to do the same thing as what's here, is a double animation. So this is twice as fast. If I want it twice as fast, might want to slow it down a little. Okay, so we're gonna just burn all of this to the ground. I think. Yeah, all of you go to the ground. Okay, so this guy here is going to be. I guess it isn't twice as fast because they're each a duration of 0.2 of a second. Okay, so we're good. We're good. We're good. And then I want to change front content transform. So just to be clear, this is going from unflipped to flipped. So unflipped is showing the front. So we want to take the front transform and scale the X down. Then we want to do the back content transform and scale it up to 1. And then we want to do the exact inverse on the other way. I'm going to be kind of annoyed that I spent 2 streams doing the other approach only to discover that this was already built out. Okay, so we're just going to flip these. Back, front. Okay, and then we're going to come down here. This one here, let's see, if we go to a state of unflipped, we want this to be, oh, here we can use scale X, and then, oh, this is object animation using frames. We want this to be double animation. Double animation keyframe. Yeah. You become create double keyframe, and you become a value of, we're going to unflip, so you become 1. Copy and paste you down here, and then the back one goes to 0. And for those people who are interested in what is the difference between the visual state and the visual state transition, if we look at Flipper new, there are, in your code behind, you will make calls to the Visual State Manager go to state. The important thing is that these state names line up with the names of the states in the XAML. And then this Boolean, the last parameter for go to state, determines whether you use transitions or whether you just want to go straight to that state. So, i.e., whether you're going to use these transitions that have a duration or whether you just want to straight assign to that state directly. So, okay, and then this guy is going to be the opposite. This becomes a 0. This becomes a 1. Okay. Send it. Send it. I don't think there's anything in here that's explicitly looking for. This is looking for a plain 3D, but I think we eliminated all the code that uses it. I think sometimes, not often, but sometimes. Okay. Okay. The size is clearly wrong on this guy. Okay, and the render transform origin is wrong. Let's fix both of those. Okay, so render transform origin 0.5, 0.5. So your origin is specified in coordinates of a unit circle. So if you imagine 0, 0 is your top left corner, 1, 1 is your bottom right. 0.5, 0.5, dead center. It just means that when it's going to apply this scale, where is it going to start from? And in this case, it was doing the scale X from 0, 0. Y didn't matter. Is why we got the behavior we saw. Let's put that in here. And then trying to decide if there's something off with the way I'm rendering this thing, or if there is something off on my demo for it. I realize how the other one was rendering. I suspect I'm missing a horizontal vertical layout. I suspect. But I think what needs to happen is the cards both need to forward the horizontal content alignment, the vertical content alignment from the control into the card. I think is what needs to happen. But let's check the animation first. Animation first. Okay. Does this look acceptable? I don't know about you. Holy crap. I spent 2 streams for what should have been done in about 30 minutes. Dang it. Dang it. And I think what I might do, like, there is definitely a difference in animation between these. I am tempted, because this part of doing this is for the 5.0 release. I am tempted to rename the current flipper to it's a typical XAML sentence. I spent 4 days on something that should take 30 minutes. Yeah, that is a fair statement. When I teach people XAML for either like WinUI, WPF, Maui, whatever, I usually tell people this is a very, very steep learning curve. Like, XAML is not a trivial learning curve at all. It is complicated, it is complex, and I usually tell people it's worth it if you get good at it. The amount you can churn out in an app is amazing, absolutely amazing. I love it. Um, but yeah, it is like in the web world, it's always the CSS jokes, right? About how long it took people to center something like that. That's how that goes. But there are CSS wizards that they go, oh yeah, magic occurs. It's like, holy crap, how'd you do that? Like, I imagine web people coming to WPF get the same experience of there are certain things that are incredibly trivial and other things that are incredibly difficult. I think what I might do is I might rename Flipper to Classic Flipper, and then make this guy Flipper. That way, if anybody wants the old behavior with the visual brush thing, they can have it, and they just accept the pain that goes with it. XAML to me is like React. I do everything in my power to avoid both. oh, the client I just started on, it's a React front end. I don't think I'm going to be doing much front end development. I think I'm mostly there for C# side of things, which I just started yesterday, so I haven't exactly had a lot of time. We got onboarded and project compiling and running and unit tests running. So to their credit, it was actually not that painful to get spun up. Like, I think it took me longer to get my account with a password than it did to get the app up and running. So that wasn't bad. And by app, it's big. It's a big project. My my poor little machine and 16 gigs of RAM was sitting there at 98% RAM usage, and I went, this. And to be fair, that was like databases running and a bunch of services and all that stuff. So it wasn't like the app is 16 gigs of memory consumption. There was quite a few things going with it to make it do that. Okay, so let's get this resizing bit handled. Take a look at that, because that resizing button definitely shouldn't be sizing that. I think we just forward some of this stuff in. Probably burn the 3D test down now. Somewhat tempted to keep some of my. I have to keep my branch around. I kind of like some of my plain 3D changes, but I might just clean some of it up. Okay, cards. Okay, so we have Flipper new. Okay, so this guy here. What is the expected behavior? Because previously, this guy was set up like this. I'm wondering if vertical alignment should default to top. 16 gig machine with a solution with 400 projects in it. Code lens, code analysis took about an hour every Git pull. Yeah. Well, thankfully, my employer is great. Like, all I did was send a message and say, hey, machine need more RAM. And they said, let's put more RAM in your machine. Like, thank you. Like, that's how hard it should be. Because the cost of a 32 gig stick of RAM, I think, was $70. Developer time, that pays for itself real quick. Real quick. So developer hours are too expensive. You give your developers good machines. Don't handicap them. It's way too expensive. I wish more companies understood that. Yeah, it is. I will say that it is not common in the industry, which is unfortunate. But I think most people are starting to wise up to the idea that hey, you make your developers more productive, and shockingly, things get done. Who would have thought? Fortunately, usually it's the security or IT teams that like to bottleneck things in the name of security, and there is a balance to be struck. Uh, yeah, okay. 2020 COVID lockdown logistics had not been worked out. Yeah, I will say the company I worked for did a pretty good job. We were already doing like remote consulting for a lot of our clients anyway. So when lockdown hit, it wasn't really that bad for most people. Like people were already set up with laptops. They were already set up to be mobile. To some degree, it meant getting some people some setups for their houses where they may not have previously had like a home office location to work in type situation. So there was a little bit of that kind of thing that went on. But I at least our company, I felt like within a week or two, they had stuff kind of hashed out pretty well. Now, admittedly, smallish company. I think at the time we were like 60-ish, 65-ish people maybe, somewhere in that range, and it wasn't that bad. Uh, Hang on, stand by 1 second. I gotta press a button real quick. Da, da, da. Where's my where's my boing? There we go. Uh, we were the opposite, all in office, and suddenly needed to be remote and machine with the office. While we waited a few months for laptops, silicon short at the same time. Yeah, yeah. Like it didn't help. People who I remember trying to get my sister, someone in my family had asked me to help them try to buy a webcam because right when everybody went remote for COVID, there was also a big shortage of webcams when everybody went, I now need a webcam. It's like, oh boy. Thankfully, I had a bunch of old ones sitting around. I'm like, here, just use this for now. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. And good luck trying to buy one right now because the price is just through the roof. Okay, I think what I landed on. Let's see. Flipper new is I think what let's see this setter here. Yeah, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna default some setters here. So setter property uh vertical content alignment, and I'm intentionally doing this in a setter uh so that it can be easily overridden by anybody who doesn't like it. But I think we're gonna go. I'm trying to decide if horizontal content alignment should be stretch or not, or if it should be start. I think stretch is probably fine. In that case, I don't even need to set it. But I then think down here on the cards inside of the template, these guys are both going to need horizontal alignment gets template binding, horizontal content alignment, right? And then the same thing for vertical content alignment, template binding, vertical content alignment. And this is one of those areas where whenever you build custom controls with custom templates, this bites so hard. Um, like you always forget a property, you don't properly bind in your padding or something. And things don't. People are like, oh, the padding doesn't work on this particular style. It's like, yep, oops. Okay, let's relaunch that. But I really like the dropping of the visual brush. That makes me so happy. I still can't believe I wasted so much time on that. If we got time, we're going to write some tests and everything for this. It's going to be great. It's going to be great for me. Okay, so I like tests. I actually was getting really excited. Oh, that's interesting. Where is this background coming from? I mean, that definitely moved it up, but now the grid have a... Huh? Oh, it's this border. That's what I'm seeing. There's a border around it. Hmm. So the vertical and content alignment were good changes. I'm wondering if this is wrong though. I'm wondering if this really, because this has vertical alignment top. Let's play with this and snoop real quick. I think I think we might just need to forward in vertical alignment on top of this. No, come back. Don't hide from me. You sit there. Give me the other window. Okay. Okay, Snoop. You open up crosshairs onto your window, cursor over the thing you want to snoop in on, and then Control and Shift is the magical keyboard shortcut, and you can see the little red box kind of chase my cursor around. Very handy. Okay, and you'll note it goes into the thing that's hit tested. So there's the border. Nope, that's not the border because there's front content, there's back content. That grid there, this grid here. So this guy here, let's look at vertical properties. So this guy has vertical alignment top, but this guy has vertical alignment stretch. I'm wondering, does it make more sense to forward that in? Interesting that that didn't immediately make it resize. Oh, back content I bet you has a height still. Look at that. It does have a height. Uh, visibility. Visibility is like banana. Sometimes hard to spell. Okay. Wait. Visibility collapsed. Oh. We should toggle the visibility in addition to the scale. Yes. Alternatively, I think what we could do is we could go here and we could do, let's see. We could take the render transform and we could change its scale Y be 0. That doesn't do it, really. Really? Oh, because it's a render transform. It's manipulating the rendered size, not the layout size. Got it. So we do want to toggle visibility on the item and hide the ones. Okay. 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 Yep. See, that's why we use Snoop. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Okay. So we're going to get rid of that. We don't need that. But what we do need to do is muck with these visual states, and we want to change part front content, part back content. So halfway through the animation, object animation using keyframes. Wow, really? Copilot, I am freaking impressed. You're wrong, but I'm impressed. Right? That's not that bad. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. right? Except for that needs to be a 2. And we want it to target front content. Let's see, target name front content. And so this is going, so this is going to become collapsed. Okay, there's your only hints, Copilot. Do the other one. Am I the only one impressed by this? That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Copilot. Okay, no hints. Do it for me. That's I almost had to write code. I almost had to write code. All hail our new robot overlords. I will say some people really don't like the idea of AI, but the fact that it wrote all that code for me, I very much approve of AI. Like, I will do some of the thinking and it will do as I tell it. I'm a criminal for refusing to use AI. I get it. Like, there are a lot of people who really, really do not like the AI stuff. I will say my opinion is, when if you can use it well, it's really nice. Um, Super unethical, and I hate it a lot. Why? Why collapsed? Yeah, and I've heard the theft argument a lot, specifically around the image ones. I do. I will call myself a very much an amateur board game designer, and there are I would say a huge amount of people in the board game design areas that absolutely abhor AI generated art for anything related. Even if it's prototyping, there are some people that just absolutely hate it. Um, Specifically, they will cite around the sources of, I'm trying to remember the cases in particular, where they how they acquired all of the images. I think it was Adobe. It was one of them that had some very shady. Um, it was like they were trying to do like a Creative Commons thing for data, to be able to go through and do, and they were very much not happy about it. Was just stealing open source code. Yeah, and that's the thing. I will say it's not perfect, and some the places where people have argued where Copilot has stolen like proprietary code usually have been traced back to somebody posting something that shouldn't have been posted as out in the open, and because the AI can, well, I should say, when they were getting the training data from like GitHub, like most people don't care about, some rando's tiny repo sitting off on the side there. But then, you get enough of those, and all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, somebody took some proprietary data for like a Pebble watch and posted it, and then all of a sudden, oh, look, now it's been forked so many times, therefore it met our threshold for inclusion, and off to the races. I will say the learning on how it figures out my, like, the style from my repo is absolutely magical, though. Absolutely magical. The other one that gets confused, so there's a subtle difference between Copilot and IntelliCode, because you get them both in inline suggestions, and they are in, functionally in Visual Studio they look almost identical. But the IntelliCode is usually like your one lines, your quick refactorings. Those are awesome. I find myself using those a ton because it only takes one or two repetitions of you doing something, and then you get the little pop up with the tab completion to say, "Hey, I see you're doing this type of, like, a rename is usually where it helps the most." because it's usually a rename where it understands the context, where you couldn't just find replace your way to victory. It has to actually do a little bit of logical thinking. Those are absolutely amazing. Just being able to tab through a file. Uh, but Copilot, I turned it off on, especially with Terraform. That's interesting. I haven't actually tried it with Terraform, despite doing a bunch of Terraform last week. I didn't even think to turn it on. I don't have it enabled on VS Code, and so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what magic I would want from it though. Is the weird thing. I feel like when I'm writing Terraform, I'm writing Terraform because I want to be in control of exactly what gets generated. It just um I would not eliminate the vast majority of repos on GitHub having really bad Terraform. That would not shock me in the least. I like people like infrastructure as code is a very newish concept, and I feel like people just write really bad stuff. Like it works is usually where people set their quality bar, and I'm a huge fan of telling my team it works is well below Kevin's minimum quality bar. Like, make it work, make it right, make it fast, right? You can stop after step 2 depending, right? But step 1 not good enough. Stack Overflow level, but yeah, and doing a lot of consulting stuff, I have gone in on a lot of different um, projects and have seen some absolutely horrendous stuff. It's like people don't quite understand. Like they don't think. Not all. I would like to think as a consultant, I'm not horrible, but I can understand the barf mentality is people don't like it. I will say we generally don't aren't the type of consultants that come in, do a bunch of crap, and then just leave. Usually when people are hiring us, they're wanting something for the long term, and we try to like deliver on something that we would be happy maintaining if we had to. Like generally the customer says, "No, we're done with you. You're too expensive. Go away." In nicer terms. But I always try to build with something that no comment. Fair, fair. I always try to build with the idea of what's that old saying? Assume the person who has to maintain your code is a psychopath who has your address, or something to that effect. There's a lot of truth in that, despite what people want to think. Um, it was also interesting because the team that I just got put on a couple days ago, they told me they're like, "Hey, if you've got feedback or suggestions, we'd love to hear it." And I'm like, my opinion to them was, I was like, I don't want to give feedback on things that I think should be changed right away. I want to understand why it was done that way, and then I'll give feedback. Like there's certain things I can look at. Like I came across a unit test where the asserts were doing nothing. I'm like, maybe we fix this. Like that doesn't take a lot of thing to say, yeah, the asserts on this particular test are bad. We should fix that. Like that's an easy win. But bigger stuff, I I feel like your comment there, you have to work with it 2 years. I don't know if 2 years feels a little on the long side for me, but I definitely agree with at least the sentiment of you should spend enough time to understand what's there and why it's like that before just willy nilly changing things. Like I think that's where a lot of consultants get a really bad rep is they do crap where they go in and they just go, well, it should be done like this because this is the new fad and blah blah blah, and that's that's a horrible bad idea. Resurrect a product from 5 years ago. That doesn't actually seem that bad. Depending on how bad it was or how good the code was when it was done. But well done code being resurrected after 10 years seems very plausible. What am I doing wrong here? Visibility collapse, visibility collapse. Do I just have these backwards? No, they're both visible, so they can't both be backwards. It wasn't the worst. I tried my best. Well, that's not bad. Like I said, 5 years. Like if I had to go and grab a C sharp project from 5 years ago, and somebody said, "Hey, resurrect it and modernize it," like our company gets called in a lot because people have old code and they're like, we don't want to think about trying to, like, we know we need to update it. We're getting flagged because we've got security vulnerabilities and blah blah blah. Please get us up to date on the latest. It's like, sure. Like I feel like um I do enough. I've done enough C sharp and I'm familiar with the changes from version to version to version. Revving somebody forward from 5 years ago to now. Because 5 years ago, what is that? Let's see if we every November C sharp 12. That's C sharp 7. So they would be C sharp 7, either 70.12 or 3 because they did the 3 point releases in the 7.0. That wouldn't be bad. I think that'd be that bad. Because that's Net Core 3.1, I think. Actually, I think I might have even touched a 3.1 project recently. Okay, why is this not targeting? Like, why does the card not toggle? That's there. That's there. Oh, because we did it on the transition and didn't apply it anywhere else. Duh. Okay, Kevin, you're a moron. Okay, so once we fix the moron problem, this will be much simpler. Let's see. Key time, we don't. You can type all the zeros or you can just type 0. I like typing just 0. 0 seems much, much easier. Okay. This, do this, this, and then let's see. This one goes up, this one goes down. Whippity boppity booyah. Front collapsed, back visible. The flipped case makes sense. For unflipped, front is visible, back is collapsed. Okay. Rinse, repeat. And now it works. Crossing fingers, hoping for the best. So happy to see this work. Yeah, like I said, I think what I might do is I might rename Flipper New to Flipper because it has the same public API as the old one. That way, people upgrading, they're getting a different animation, I guess. A better look, in my opinion, because it won't be blurry anymore. Um, but if they want the old animation, I think I could just do like I could embed it in the current style and have like an attached property to toggle it, but I really don't even want that control lingering around. Like kind of I have this idea. That looks bad. That looks bad. Okay. I don't like I don't like the look of that. Okay, so let's not do it in the middle. Let's move it all the way to the end of the animation. See if that looks better. I think that might look better. There's just something very jarring about that animation in the middle when it switches size. Like it's already going to be a little bit awkward, but I feel like the size change should probably happen either at the beginning or at the end. I'm almost wondering if the visible should happen at the beginning and the collapse should happen at the end. We'll see how this works doing them both at the end, but we might move the visible to the beginning. Yeah, that also does not look good. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to move the visible to the beginning, the collapse to the end, visible to the beginning, the collapse to the end, and see how that works. That way, you'll see like at some point, the thing has to relay itself out. Like that's a given. At some point, that's going to happen. But we can make that thing happen early in the process rather than, or make it not look bad. See the shift as the animation starts. That looks good. It looks good one direction. It looks bad the other. And it's because the thing is being pinned. How do we get around this? How do we get around this? Hmm. Yeah, that just doesn't look good doing the collapse like that. And it's gonna stay that way as long as it's there. Yeah. Oh, you know what we could do? You know what we could do? Okay, here's an idea. Here's an idea. Here is an idea. The part of why it doesn't look good is you see the border that's wrapping all of these things um, look ugly. I am thinking we don't. Why do we have a border even at all? I'm kind of wondering if we need this border. Or if I can just move this stuff in. Down here. Because card derives from. So why can I not just do this? Right? And move these guys down. Yeah. I understand you're unhappy with me. Hush now. Fix you in a second. Fix you in a second. We put you guys here. And can we just get rid of the border? Format, please. You. Because part of the why it looks so bad, and you need to be inside the root. There. Format again. Is because that border is visible. If that border wasn't there, it probably looks better. I mean, if you put this in the middle of a form and you're physically shrinking the size on the flip, like you are going to see the form move up and down. But I think that looks okay because it's not the content in the flipper; it's the content around the flipper shifting. And I think that subtle shift, unintended. Yeah. Aside from the fact that this now looks like before, it had this nice background on it, and now that's to be missing. And I don't fully know why, because oh no, the card should be there. Oh, flipper assist card style. I bet you this thing doesn't have a. I bet you this thing does something stupid with that. Let's take a look at this guy in Snoop. I'm willing to bet the this because cards look like this. This does not have that look. Oh, I accidentally. So, pro tip: you can attach Snoop to Visual Studio. Um, Great fun if you want to poke around Visual Studio. Or when you inevitably find the alignment issues, especially if you turn up, say, your font size off of defaults. Still not happy about that one, Visual Studio team. If you would like a list, please message me. I keep submitting feedback. I keep getting told low priority. Okay, let's see. Front content here. Let's take a look. So there's the grid. There's the card. Look at the background. Background is being set to nothing. What a shock. Okay, so we would like to set the background to something that resembles real better, not sucky. How did this one previously get a background? Based on Flipper. Must have had something set somewhere. Where did it pick up defaults? I don't even know where it was picking him up from. So that's exciting. Let's go look at the card. Because I'm kind of thinking I want to set. Trying to decide where it's better to do it because I could do it in a style here rather than individual property setters, but I think people are more likely to want to just set these things at the property level. Yeah, I think that's probably more likely. I want to look at the card style and I want to mirror that. Specifically, I would like this property. Yeah, elevated card, outline card. So we would like this guy. Let's see here. Set some defaults up. So I would like that guy there. I would like vertical and content alignment. Don't actually care. I would like to set the elevation. Those are all being bound. Okay, so now it should get something. At least the background should be. We may go generate a separate brush for this. And use, or I should say, a second brush alias. That way this is material design brush flipper background. That way it's a little nicer. It is kind of a card. Okay, so that's better. Yeah, we have a sizing problem though. Okay, and then I think this guy goes vertical alignment. That. This guy goes vertical alignment like that. And we are going to default setter property vertical content alignment value to be top. And I think that gets us the best possible behavior because that will force the cards to try to float up. The only time you will see the card size weird, and honestly what we could do is we could move the timing of the collapse. And we'll see. We may move the timing of the collapse to 0.2 instead of 0.4. That looks really clean. That looks pretty clean. What happens? Let's move the collapse down to 0.2 and see if we can even tell. Because if we can't tell a difference, I might want to do the collapsed on 0.2 instead. Because functionally at 0.2, their scale X should have already been set to 0. So it has no horizontal width at that point. Curious why we did a keyframe at 1/10 of a second and then set the duration to 0.2. Must have wanted to hold it for a second. I don't really understand why, but I don't feel like tweaking the animation at the moment. There. I don't see a visual difference. We're going to do it there just so that, like, you're not going to get a layout pass mid-animation, but that is so much better. So much better. Now, I'm curious on the sizing difference. The visual difference between these two things is shocking. Absolutely shocking. Okay. What is the sizing of this guy? So, clip border, viewport, flipper. That was way too high up. That guy is 48. This guy, also 48. Boy, it's like this thing has internal padding or something on him. Can't tell me that those two are the same size. Really? Really? Telling me that control there and that control there both have a height of 48. Can I have padding or something applied? No. Margin? No. There's got to be something in here. Like, I can't imagine the scaling is just that. Right? Show me height properties. What point do we jump off of 40? That's still 48. That's still 48. There. Somewhere in there. 32. Button has a margin. That's okay. The content presenter is 48. It's got to be the scaling from that thing. It's got to be the scaling of that visual brush that's biting it. And that is ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Okay. Despite visually, I will assert those are not the same height. Visually, that is not the same size. But apparently, both of those are 48 pixels tall. Sorry, device independent pixels units. Okay. There's that. There's that. Okay, so let's do some cleanup then on the control name. Let's see. So I wanna look real quick. Working flipper. Gonna do that real quick so I don't lose anything. Okay. I want to look at everything I touched. Okay. Oh, 3D test. We're gonna throw that away from the demo app. We don't need it anymore. Delete. Okay. Cards. We're gonna come back to that because that's gonna be part of the rename. Come into here. So we've got plain 3D and plain 3D new. The plain 3D new we want to kill. Yep, you gone. Don't want to think about you anymore. Okay, and then we just have flipper new and okay, so let's do then a rename of flipper new flipper classic. That we did I think we have some past art around classic, the combo box. Yeah, that classic was the word that got used before when we did the old combo box template. So I think there's prior art for that. We're gonna mirror that. Flipper classic. Okay. And it goes like that. And then this guy. Don't need this. Don't need this. This. Do need all of that. That's fine. We're going to keep all of this. That all makes sense. All makes sense. We do not need you. Not need you. Do want you. Okay, so we do the trigger the animation. We call on flip change. That's all fine. That's all fine. Unflipped. The opposite of. I'm going to rename this. What is the opposite? What? That is not flipped. Studied? No, it's taking the wrong definition. How about flip? No, that doesn't. Grumble, grumble, grumble. I don't like unflipped, but I also don't have a better name, and so we're going to keep it. Let's see. This did not rename that for me. Yep, please rename it. Thanks. That will go there. That will go there. That will go there. Okay, now we're going to update our defaults. Right, you are set there properly. Flipper Classic also set. This is a good thing to know too. When you're wondering why your styles or your implicit styles in particular aren't picking up for a custom control, default style key property in a static constructor is oftentimes the explanation of people forgetting to override the metadata. Because if you don't override the metadata, the default style key will be whatever your base class is. Pretty much never what you want. Boom, boom. Okay, so that goes like that. That goes like that. That goes there. Okay, cool there. Cool there. I don't like that this is public. I like to move. Used inside of two. You're just unhappy because I haven't rebuilt yet. I'm going to move you inside and duplicate you. I'm trying to avoid control template. I'm trying to avoid having a bunch of stuff that's public because that has bitten me way too many times. I'd like to get some of those cleaned up. Okay. All of that. Let's make sure the demo app still works. Of course, it doesn't even compile. Flipper Classic does not exist. That's XAML. Let's see here. What is your problem? Flipper Classic doesn't exist. Last I checked, it right there, which means the error is in building the library, not in building the project. Got it. So this guy didn't update here. We need to change the names on all of these styles. So let's change these guys here. Hero Design, Card Flipper, Classic. That just is a type name. That updated there. This is going to be Card Flipper. Oh, we should probably do the regular Flipper style too without the cards. If I care about setting vertical content alignment. I don't think I do anymore. Surprised it didn't flag me for doubling up on those. Okay. Try it again. No. Okay. This is one of the things also that bothers me. Right? When you have all of these errors, just completely ignore the downstream things. Focus entirely on whatever your lowest level project is. Sometimes I will even go to the effort of compiling them one at a time. So you'll note this error here showed up 3 times, but you'll note same line number and position. The reason it shows up 3 times, if we look at the project here, you'll see I have 3 different target frameworks. So each one of those, bang, 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 bang. I think actually in the error window you can see there's a column, and I may have hidden it, that actually shows you the TFM of the project. Okay, now we're up to this. This should now become Flipper. This should now be Flipper. And then Flipper. And I think that was the only place where we were using Flipper, so now everything's going to be Flipper Classic. Sort of wondering if I should separate them into even their really break. Bad idea. Not a bad idea. Might do that too. For new. Where else did I use it? Let's see there. Okay. Line number 542. I don't know why that one showed up 4 times. That's weird. Anyone else want to yell at me? Flipper. Flipper, like the dolphin. Okay. 3D. Oh, I had the extra test item in here that we don't need anymore. Checking this. Okay. So if we go cards now, we then immediately crash. Obviously, invalid operation. Flipper target type does not match type of target. Flipper classic. Okay, so I have a target type on a style. I think it's in here. Yeah, so it's going to be back over here. Target type. These all need to match. Flipper classic, flipper classic. Flipper classic, flipper classic. Flipper. Huh, so it wasn't there. It must be in here. Okay, well, let's just hunt down. You're not going to be nice enough to tell me where the error is, are you? Oh, line number 346. Well, that's pretty explicit. Let's go to 346. Boom. Okay. Yep. That will do it. The card flipper. Okay. I like it. 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 And this hopefully puts to bed like 4 or 5 issues out of the milestone, and was the biggest chunk of stuff to get in. Go. Get cards. Of course, flipper target type does not match flipper classic. Okay. What line number? 618. I clearly didn't go far enough. 8. Okay, try again. Did so well on most of them. Cards. 642. This just, yeah. Oh, right there. I was looking at that going, what? Okay, got it. That's just showing how you can override the card style. There is this awkward tension that's going to exist between things you can do with the card style attached property and things that you set directly on the flipper itself. Okay, you still work. I mean, you work like you did before. There's that. You work. I'd like to show you. Like to show you with the other one, but yeah, because aside from not really getting that pop out in your face look, I think I am much happier with this because you can have your favorite, the visual brush render animation-y stuff, or you can have nice WPF, and I think for the most part people will favor the nice WPF. Okay, so let's. Why did I close my beloved Git Kraken? I need you. I am lost without you. Guiding light. Okay. Rename Flipper to for classic. For new to. Okay. Commit. Okay. Now let's go break up those resource dictionaries. Think is next. We're gonna just go all in on this. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it all the way. Okay. So go. Oh, stop debugging. So picky. I love that certain operations you can still get away with, even though you couldn't do them, or you're not supposed to be able to do them while debugging. They'll let you. Flipper Classic goes like that. And out of Flipper Classic, we are going to get rid of this one. And bring that down all nice, pretty like. Okay. And then on the Flipper one, we are going to burn up the two classic options. Make those go away. We do want to also do the non-card based flipper as the default. Wondering if I want to keep that for this namespace is the one we use to freeze brushes with. We might just hold that around. I don't think we're gonna need it. Actually, I know we aren't. It was only being used to freeze the sign animation. Okay. That goes there, and then we tweak the defaults to include appropriate ones. A, B, C, D, E, F. Huh? Where's Flipper? No. You're telling me it's not included anywhere? That is very wrong and is probably a bug. Actually, I'm going to try something. I'm curious. What does it do? Because it no longer knows where Flipper Classic is. I sort of expect the Flipper Classic ones not load the templates. Yeah, so this guy here is unhappy because he's no longer referencing Flipper Classic. Oh, so that's how this one was getting away with it. Happy New Year. Izzy, welcome. Happy, or I guess I should go with Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. I think we may have cracked the Flipper problem. That works. But what? Okay. But what's going to happen when I take a... Okay, let's... I'm going to test this in a minute. I suspect I need to fix the defaults. That they're working by coincidence, not by intentionality. Which is very, very sad. Okay. We are going to do a default style for it that is basically the same, sans the cards in favor of just the content present. What the other one does. So we're going to do basically the exact same thing with some minor modifications. So we are going to move this guy. Actually, I think what I want to do is I want this guy to just be a border. And actually, do we? No, we do. Because we don't want this. We don't want this. We want you, because I still need this transform to exist at a level above the content presenter. I don't want to be applying it directly to the content presenter. That'll make most of this very easy. And then you're meaningless. I am turning off card style, even though it technically could be made to work. It would look weird, and I don't like something being named card style and then it not being a card style. That seems dumb to me. Why did I give these ones names? Did I use these before? Nope. We're just gonna whack those off. Let's see. And same thing here. Okay, so we should probably invert the order of these just to make them match what the original was. Okay, so I am curious. This guy now has no style applied. And by no style, I clearly mean no key. I know that because I just deleted the key. The elevation assist meaning. And I would like to first of all go up to the cards area. I would like to look at Flipper Classic. And I would like to find the one that does nothing of consequence. I think I'm going to do that on it. And then we are going to go down where we have the new one. Let's see, this is first classic. Where is my flipper? I'm going to go here. I'm going to change you from Flipper Classic. Just Flipper. So I want to show off that there are two. I'm wondering if I need to support the non-card based one. I kind of suspect the non-card based one sees very little use. Wish there was a way for people to opt into sending metrics. That would be nice. Okay, and so we're going to get rid of this. I don't want the event either. Just want that. I'm going to rename this to Flipper. Because the IDs, the unique keys, as the name implies, just needs to be unique. Let's see. And then I clearly missed my closing tag. That. Except for you do closing tags with a slash at the beginning, not like how I did. The do as I say, not as I do moment. Okay. Things are wrong. Fine. Oh, that's a wrap panel. I see. Okay. I see. This is just here to show off the rounded corner ones. Yeah, rounded flipper. We might show that off too. I don't know how useful that is. I may go through and try to invert these samples in the demo app at some point so that the Flipper Classic gets the honorable mention space and the new Flipper gets prominent display. Here's the new one. Now why... Probably invert the order of these. Because those don't make a lot of sense in the order that they're in. We're going to take these and just flip that ordering. Okay, that makes better sense so that they're in the same order as the other ones. I'm just wondering why this thing has a background at all. Because I intentionally... Oh, it's because the background is a card. There is a small but important difference between these two. I honestly don't know if I like the idea of even supporting the non-card based one. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We are going to only have one because I don't think there's a lot of value in having one that uses card and one that uses a border, because a card derives from a border and they have very little differences. Very little. A card is a loose wrapper around a border control. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to drop this. Then we're going to drop this. There's just going to be one for the new flipper. And we'll see if anyone sends a request to have one without a card. Because if you want one without a card, you can literally just drop the background and drop the elevation. And you're basically back to the border anyway. It seems kind of easy. Okay. Don't need that anymore. Okay, so that goes like that. That goes like that. And that means then up here, I still like the idea of having two. That order, and then the stack panel. That's fine. That's fine. I think that's fine. That'll be good. And you know what? We might even demonstrate. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to take the corner radius that's being demoed in the classic one really quick. I'm just going to apply, let's see, uniform corner radius. I'm just going to apply this, maybe not at an 8, maybe we'll do it as a, let's see, let's do it at a 4. Make it, just to make it look nice and round and pretty like. Because a lot of things in material design tend to be 1, even numbers, and 2, multiples of 4. They consider half steps another thing, so technically, right. So we're now referencing a style that doesn't exist. Okay. So people who are previously using the card flipper are going to be broken after this change because they will have to delete their style assignment. And I am not the diff. Go away. I am okay with that. This is a part of why we did I wanted to do this in the 5.0 release, is I suspected that there was going to be breaking changes. And I wanted to be able to make them and have a much cleaner API. Okay, go here. There's the nice rounded corner on the flipper. Doesn't look bad at all. Yeah, like I said, I may reorder them so that they look a little nicer, but for now, I think that is perfect. I think that is darn near perfect. Okay, so let's see. What do you do here? Lit resource dictionaries. Oh, we wanted to test one thing really quick. I wanted to test what happens if I do this and I put it, say, on home. I have a suspicion that the fact that it's not in, let's see, where can I put this where it won't be too in the way? I'll find my way into a nice, let's see. Yeah, we're just going to slap it right about there. Format XAML. And then we're going to get rid of style reference, style reference. Yeah. Seems like it's unhappy about something. I just don't know what. Interesting. But does pick it up just fine. I have to believe there's another reference floating around here somewhere. Show me flipper.xaml text references. Somebody else is referencing this. Cards is referencing Flipper. Oh wait, that's a demo. Hang on. Demos don't count. Demos don't count. Generic. Yeah, so this, okay, so it's not, okay, so I had it wrong. It's not default, it's generic. Okay. 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 That makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Because that would imply if I change this to be Flipper Classic, then that should fail to find a appropriate template because that is the new resource dictionary that no one knows about yet. Therefore, there's not any magical thing. Yeah, so it fails to find the template there. Perfect. I come over here. I come over here. I go, hey, I'd really like one of these. Give me a copy. Thank you very much. We go here. We go, perfect, perfect. We launch with Flipper Classic now. A horrible Italian accent. Ugh, something in my eye. Oh, I absolutely abhor things touching my eyes. Why I wear glasses and not contacts. I once went in for an eval on the what do they call it, the laser eye surgery to fix your eyes, and unfortunately, I have a family history of glaucoma, which meant that the laser eye surgery to fix my eyes is the expensive version, not the cheaper version. This failed because the command didn't get updated properly because this needs to be classic so that there's a handler for it. Oh, stop it. Stop it. And then that should work. But most importantly, it found the template, it rendered something versus before where it rendered nothing and didn't work and everyone was unhappy. At least I was unhappy. Interesting. Why did that fail? Oh, because I changed the wrong thing. Changed it in cards, not in home. Yeah, this is... I'm wondering... No, I was just thinking that maybe we should have each control handle the other's command as well, but no. That'll be a mildly easier thing for somebody to do an upgrade, a miserable thing to diagnose. Here we go. Huzzah! Okay, so let's go back up here. Back up here, we do not want the home page change. Discard that, please. Thank you very much. Stage, heading, Flipper Classic to generic.xaml. Change. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. You'll note my local branch is behind my remote branch by, was that 4 commits? Watch. Drag onto remote branch. Key part is you have to drag onto a remote. If you drag onto your local, like I have my local master is behind remote master by 1. But if you drag onto a remote branch, you get this push and start pull request, which we go, thank you very much. Is exactly what I would like to do. Flipper control. Okay. Let's see. This control is functionally intended to replace the old Flipper control. It has a similar animation to the toggle button. Let's see. For people still wanting the old Flipper animation, the old control been renamed to Flipper Classic. Let's see. Breaking change. Well, we're gonna submit this and then we'll deal with logging all the breaking changes. So breaking change. There is a visual breaking change. Where is visual breaking change in this list? Goes through the visual breaking change. And then I want to release notes this guy. Pull request. Do it on GitHub because I want to look over the diff here really quick and go. There is a key change here with the large diffs not rendered by default. Yeah, because anyone using the second style, the card one, this is the new one. I want to look at classic. The card-based style. Let's see. Let's see. The edit. Uh, breaking change. Anyone? Uh, consumers using the style will either need to delete the style reference or update to using implicit key dead. They can back to the old behavior by placing flipper with flipper classic everywhere. Then real quick, what we're going to do is we are going to grab, is there much more for 5.0? Not after, we can go look real quick. I don't think there's going to be much left. I think this is going to get, PR. I don't want PR. I want milestones. 5.0. Because how much is this going to knock off? So these two don't count. This one's going to knock off this one, this one, this one. Need to look at that one. Time view is not the same as runtime. What is this one doing in here? Oh, and this one I need to double check. So not a ton. A lot of bug fixes in here. Oh, so I put this one in here as I want to go and test this, but this one may not be a big issue. So yeah, there's not a lot of functionality things in here. This one here for the numeric up down control, I may, because this was somewhat fully functional, even if it wasn't great. And there's been a number of requests for people wanting this type of behavior. And so it's currently only a draft PR, but I was contemplating picking it up and bringing it in. The thing is it doesn't necessarily need to make the 5.0 release, because this is an additional control, not a change to anything that's there. So it could come in a 5.1 release just fine. Like, it's not breaking, it's just new functionality. So we could, it's probably the first thing on the docket to get punted. And then these ones here, I just need to go through and deal with documentation. And this one here also, because I want to write up a list, because most of these things go through and update fairly simply. But I know there's stuff that I've missed, and I need to go through and write the docs so that I can see it. So a couple bugs to be evaluated. Remember what this one was here. Yeah, this is just a question. I'm going to close this issue for now, and since it's been over 3 weeks, but this one should be cleared up. So for anybody going in, This person here encountered the issue of accent and secondary. Is we've been killing off the word accent everywhere. So in this case, it was specifically here in the file path. So if you're doing merge dictionaries, be aware that that is a thing that is coming. Okay, I wanted to get a demo. So screen to GIF. If you have not seen this app, learn to love it. This thing is wonderful for simple little screen captures. We're gonna put these here and here, and I'm gonna do a recording of. Oh, I just want it right, the right size. No, okay, screw it. We're just doing this. I'm gonna just bring this window down here, bring this guy across, go to here. I just want to show off 7. F8. Then we go Files, Save As, Flippers, Save. Then do that guy, and then I'm going to drag that sucker up here so that there's a nice demo of it working. See it here and make sure it looks good. Go. Okay, and I think one thing, the animation is clearly different, but it comes out all of the overhead of the plain 3D animations. Okay, we're gonna do. Yeah, sure, fine. Fix my grammar. So helpful. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. This is going to go into 5.0, and then let's check these ones here. Let's see. This is going to fix. Wow. Issue 694. That's a lot of. Let's see. So pound, or I should say, fixes. Boom. That one. Let's actually just make sure that it does do that real quick. So if I go light mode. Oh, look at that. It changes modes like it's supposed to. Huzzah. Okay. So confirmed. That one's fixed. This one here. Da, da, da. This is reported fixed as well on a preview version, but the ultimate control is being fixed here. So I'm gonna claim credit on this one too. Okay, so those will go there. Update comment. And we're gonna let that guy go. And that will merge shortly. And then we are very, very close. Documentation and small number of things in there. And like I said, I may end up just punting that numeric control out because it's cool. But like this paper variant boxes, I actually really like the look of these. At this point, we have to rename them because we dropped the papering name anyway. And this is something that needs to be renamed. But I actually like the look of these things. And so at some point, I want to bring these these in. They've sat around for a while to where it's a kind of a painful rebase, but I feel like I can go back and copy out the styles and update them and get them back into where I want them, because I've got a few apps where this would be a very, very helpful look in the layout for them. But I may end up punting the new stuff, the new controls out of 5.0, just in the name of getting the release out the door. So, because that flipper took 3 weeks and it should have taken 30 minutes. So, that was fun. That was fun. Okay. Well, I think with that, I am probably going to wrap it up for tonight. Expect that PR to merge shortly. It'll probably make it here. I didn't enable autocomplete, so I'll do that. Let's see. I was going to try to create a clean version of the file and directory dialogues from the extensions library. Oh, yeah, if you want to go through and do something like that, Izzy, I would be more than willing to entertain putting it in. If things get in and done quick enough before I have the documentation, which, let's be clear, at the speed I'm going might take a little bit, then I'm happy to get them merged. The only thing from the extensions library on their dialogues that I wasn't a huge fan of is they come with like view models pre-packaged in with the controls. And the intent here is to have controls that don't have the view models, that are actual just UI components. So if you spin something like that, I would be very happy to entertain it, because there are some pretty ones out there that I've seen. I've seen a handful of people roll their own too, which is surprising to me. And I used to tell people that it was a lot of work, and the more I've seen people build them, it's not as much work as I thought. The one thing that does get interesting, most people just do a regular directory picker. There's some weird odds and ends around, like making sure you handle network-based drives, if that's important, right? Um, and if you want to get really fancy and handle like the user's favorites, like what you see on the left side in the Windows Explorer picker, those are nice things, but by no means a requirement. Because sometimes people just want a straight little file picker and nothing more, and keep it simple. Um, don't make it complicated. Yeah, same code style of existing stuff. I need help restyles from two generators. Yeah, yeah. Feel free to open up issues. You can hit me up on Discord as well if you want to post links or whatnot. And like I said, happy to take a look. And if it gets something where it's in a nice stable state before 5.0 goes, happy to get it merged in and see how it goes. So, with that, everyone, Justin Bieber, thank you for coming and hanging out. Everyone else, see everyone next time. As always, happy coding.